Morning, guys. February the 26th here in Central Illinois. It's already almost 50 degrees out, and it's not quite 8 o'clock, but it's close. But I thought I'd show you what we're doing, how we're coming along on our powered trolley dump. And the one thing I want to say about this is the ugliest damn thing that I think I've ever built. It is truly ugly. I've actually replicated the ugliness from the original, which is this right here. Not a pretty piece of equipment, that's for sure. I think what really gets me is if you'll notice, even on the real car, the overhang that the cabs have. Well, I've definitely replicated the overhang. So, and some of you guys will remember that I had two window holes cut in that. I didn't like the way they looked. I was having a hard time finding inserts that suited me. So I went to my friend with the lathe and we cut out the window exactly like it is on the original. So we've got that done. I have got the cabs mounted, and let me reach over here. This is what I was initially setting it up to use. The cab is mounted to the back of the stanchions there. I drilled and tapped holes, and you can maybe see there's some screws there that pull it up against that stanchion. Now, I'll tell you something. This is a Korean Mike's Train House. It's a nice car. This was new. I bought it new. And like I told you before, there were a number of things. It just cuts down on the painting. I have no intentions of painting the dump, nor do I have any intentions of painting the frame. I will touch the frame up from the scratches that we got from the sheet metal, but other than that, it's going to look pretty nice. And the other thing I liked was it does not designate it as Lionel, it just designates it as a 218. But what I'm getting at is this. On the underneath side of the Lionel, that puppy is pinned down big time. That's thick brass. And for the most part, those ends are absolutely rock solid. Now, I'm not going to turn this thing upside down, but believe me when I say that those ends on this are sheet metal, thick sheet metal. There was enough sheet metal that I could drill it and tap it and get maybe 3 or 4 threads in it, not any more than that. But they're twisted, and the more you touch them, the more they start to wobble. They will loosen over time. So I'm real anal about trying to get everything square. I get these cabs on, I put my level on it, and one cab will be perfect. The other one will be a little bit low or a little bit high. Well, you adjust that, and then you get it right, and then you do something, then you put the level back on it, and it ain't quite kosher. So it's not bad, but I don't like the fact that I can't get it level continuously. Every time I put a level on it, I expect it to be level. Now they feel firm, but they do flex. So that's something I'm fighting. It's minor, but it irritates me because I like to have it. I want to look at it and say, yeah, that's everything is fine on that. The other thing we're working on is the bell. That's off of a 390. Well, as you see on the real one, the bell is up underneath the overhang there on the roof. But I don't know that I actually like that. I just think it sticks out there too far. What I would like to have, or what I may wind up getting, are these bells right here. These are American Flyer reproductions, and I think that would look a whole lot better sitting maybe right here or even in the center. I like the center look of it. The other thing that I've gotten done is, and it needs a little bit of fine tuning. All this is bolted together. The worst part with this project is I started the trucks and I work up. In order to get these trucks off, I got to take this off. And believe you me, this is no easy process. Even when I take the roof off and the front off, because all that stuff feeds through the center. It feeds all the way through this fixture. This fixture that is up against the cab has got a square hole into it. And that that peg has to go into that square hole, and then there's a screw on the backside that keeps everything locked together. It's the same on both ends. So it's a bit of a hassle to get the stuff, but we got this so that it works. I mean, what's it, the play value? What's it worth if it has no play value? So it works pretty good. A little bit tight because I know it's a square shaft and it's rubbing against the hole that I got for it. It was free before I bolted it to the bulkhead, but now that I bolted it, there's a little bit of pressure that applies. The other thing I don't like is this door does not want to close all the time. It slips down, and like I said, this is brand new. The other side, it's not a problem. So I just like, I wanted to make it with some play value, because I'm quite sure that if Lionel was going to make something like this, they would have play value. The other thing that I did on the original, I had these power trucks on the original. I wanted to see whether this power truck, which I built, would pull a car, or if it'd just sit there and spin. Lo and behold, I was quite pleased with it. I put a 211 flat car with a wood load on it, hooked it to the back, and it ran it around the track with absolutely no problems. Now, you ain't going to go any bigger. You might get a second car on there. I doubt it. I think you'd sit there and spin and make sparks until she got traction and took off. But it will definitely pull one with no problem. So, I could maybe later on, if I haven't completely tired out on this thing, I could make a work car to go with it, which is something I wouldn't mind doing. The other thing is the door. I want to show you what we did with the door. That's been cut out on the back side. I drilled holes to screw it up in, which was all right, but I wanted something with a tighter fit. So what I did was, we took the door, this is another one, and we fabricated a spring. And that spring, wrong side, you got to turn it, see exactly where I'm at here. There we go. Well, no, it isn't. This thing is, what have I done here? Oh, yeah, I'm getting old and having a fit. This is the inside of the door. This, I fabricated a spring. That spring sits right there. It comes to the edges, and it fits in the embossing. That's a little above it, but believe me when I say it does fit. I solder that dead center. Then I take that door and I turn it at an angle, and I get these edges to the edge of the sheet steel, and I turn it back. And what you'll have is, you can see it in there. That goes on both sides, and that pulls that door really, really nice and tight. So I could probably, and I may experiment with this. I got a couple of these doors. I may go ahead and solder this one up with no screw holes in it, and mount it on this. Because once it's mounted, it rests on the bottom. It ain't going to go anywhere. Believe me, it is tight. Although I don't mind the screws. I mean, good grief. American Flower used screws to keep the bodies on, and so when I'm doing stuff like that, I just make the screws nicer. I make them out of polished brass. But I've got one more door to cut. But here again, I put this together and taken it apart at least 6 times, and I do that because I'll tell you right now, when you're working on it, if you don't fit this stuff and and fit it well, when you spray paint it, you're in a whole different category, because all of a sudden your tolerances are a lot tighter. It just makes it more difficult to put it together. So I try to make sure that everything works fine before I paint it, and hope to hell it works fine after I paint it. But we're waiting now on 2 trolley cars that I bought out of Italy. They're reproductions by the Spanish toy maker Paya, P-A-Y-A. They're a 1923 wind-up trolley. And the only reason I bought them is for the trolley poles. They've got really neat trolley poles. Now, the whole mechanism is only 7 inches long, but that trolley pole is just about as long as what the car body is. So if I put one here at the back, it'd probably come to about here. And I'll put 2 of them back to back. So I'll have the trolley poles that I'm looking for. What I'd like to buy or like to find is a Pride Lines O-gauge trolley pole, which I've got over here on this Kingsbury trolley that I got. That would be absolutely perfect for this thing. But I haven't found any out there for sale separately, and I'm not interested in paying $85 or $90 for the O-gauge trolley just to get the trolley pole off of it. Although I will tell you, that motor on that O-gauge trolley is what I used on that Goose and extended the wheels, and they work good. So I guess I couldn't buy a motor for $80. So maybe if I found one, I could get a twofer. But that's what we've got. It's I've still got quite a bit of work to do with it. I am still thinking about maybe, since this thing actually can pull a car, of putting a set of couplers on it. I would put them on the front and the back. It doesn't have a reverse unit in it. I have no intentions of putting a reverse unit in it. But I just think it balance it out if it's got them on both ends. And of course, this particular trolley, they have no they have no cow catcher. So that's pretty much what I've got there, and it does a nice job. I'm real pleased with that power truck that I built for it. Real pleased. I just wish I had the headlight wired up on it. And that is absolutely ugly. That thing is ugly. But it runs smooth. And it'll still run faster. I still got more transformer to give it. All right, guys. Well, if I can figure out how I want to do a bell, and I get the trolley poles for it, and they are to my liking, and I get another hole cut for the door on the other side, and fine-tune that knob, and be able to get these things off of here and back on again, and everything is pretty much level. Excuse me. I will be one happy camper. It will not be any problem to paint these, because this cab comes apart. The roof is off, the front comes off, the sides, all that's minor. So I don't have to worry too much about, well, there'll be no masking on it, that's for sure. I'll be able to get it painted, and I'll be able, as the door stands now, and maybe if I make a double spring door and I like it and it holds it tight, that's all I'll do. I'll still have to cut out the other side so the embossing isn't up against the tin, but I'll be able to put that on and then hold it in with the springs. I've done that before on other doors and it works really good. This one just proved to be a little bit more of a problem than I thought it would be. So we'll see what happens. Nothing's carved in stone. All right, guys, have a good rest of the week, and we'll talk with you later. Toodaloo.